So, I was talking to a friend online, and she was telling me about how she couldn't sleep, and that she wished she could buy a joint, but it was too expensive. And I'm like, if you can't afford to buy a joint, I'm like, I don't know because I don't do that sort of thing. But if you can't afford to buy a joint, you need to get a better job. Like, it's pretty cheap. Like, weed isn't all that expensive. I don't think. And then she proceeds to tell me that she's buying a house, and I'm like, if you're putting weed as like a consideration that could fucking destroy your possibility of getting a house, like, how expensive is fucking weed? And then she's like, well, I'm trying to buy a house in the UK, and Australian money, the conversion is so much, so she's trying, she has to save a lot of money to be able to get a house. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, well, you're lucky you're not trying to buy a house in the US. I'm like, isn't your money like half a cent to ours? And she's like, no, it's like, or she said yes, something like that. And I kind of giggled about it. And I'm like, it's funny to me that like I have no concern for what the US dollar converts to anywhere else, because as far as I know, it's more. Like, I could go anywhere in the world, as far as I know. I'm sure that isn't actually the way that it is. I'm sure that there are places here and there where, that money is worth more than the dollar or whatever. I imagine that that's a possibility. But just for me, it just seems to me like the dollar is just worth more everywhere. So anywhere I go, my money's just, I got it covered. Like, I'm sure I got it covered. Like, here's $5. Like, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would be such an asshole tourist because I would be like, I don't know what the fuck, what is that? Like, but I would get my money converted, so I would have their money instead, so I would just be using their money. But like, it would just be like, you get a big stack, be like, man, I gave you $10. Big stack of cash. Look at that. I need to open an account and buy a house. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure it's like one of those arrogant American things, which is why I think it's so funny, because it's like, it just occurred to me. I have no knowledge of what our money is actually worth anywhere else in the world. I know that whenever I get a Canadian anything, like whenever you get a Canadian quarter out of a machine, you're like, fuck! God damn it, because the machine won't take the fucking Canadian quarter back. It's like, and nobody wants Canadian money, so you always try and pawn it off at like McDonald's or something. But, like, that's all I know. And then I was thinking to myself, I used to collect fucking, like, foreign currency because it was so funny looking to me. Like, me and my friends, when I was in, like, middle school, we had coin collections. Just weird coins. And I'm like, that's what foreign currency was to me. It was this weird, odd, it wasn't actually money to me, because as far as I knew, it was worthless. Like, who's going to take it in America? Like, when you're that young, you don't think that, well, banks will take it and they'll convert it into whatever it is in American currency. Like, you can take your coin collection to a bank and be like, can I have American for this? And they'll be like, sure. And they'll figure out what the fuck it is. That's what they're there for. Part of their purpose. And I'm not sure if you could take it to, like, any bank. I don't know if there's specific banks you can take it to do that kind of shit. But as far as I know, you take it. Like, again, it's one of those things. I never concern myself with it because I never deal in foreign currency. Ever. I've never been anywhere else. Like, it's so weird to me to think of. I would just assume that, my money's worth more than yours. I don't know. It's just weird to me. But it made me giggle. Made me laugh. Because I'm like, wow. Like, the fact that you're even concerned with that is odd to me. Like, I don't know how I'd feel thinking to myself, my money's pretty much no good here. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it struck me as hysterical. Like, that's really an odd thing to have grown up in America my whole life and have that kind of be my perspective on it. And to think about other people in other places, you know, that's a consideration for them. And for me, it just isn't. And really, it never will. I don't plan to ever move overseas or anything like that, so it never even what it will be. You know? So it's an odd thing to consider. It's just another one of those things I think that we kind of take for granted sometimes as Americans. Yeah. Critiquing America. Huh. Yeah, well, go figure. But yeah, so I thought that it was a funny thought. So, you know, I figured I'd share it. But I was fucking rolling because, you know, we're going back and forth. And she's like, your money's so weird to us. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, it's all the same color. And I'm like, yeah, well, we expect our people to fucking read the money. Like, you know, it has different people on it and different numbers. And she's like, yeah, our money's different colors. That's, you know, it's so that we can tell what the fuck it is. And I'm like, you can't read the number? Like, it doesn't have a number on it? Like, what? I was just like, alright, whatever it is that you need to be able to fucking tell the difference between your money, but we read the numbers. Like, oh my god, I just got such a kick out of it. I don't know, it was very funny to me. Just because it was the absurdity of it. Like, it just never occurred to me. And to think about it, and to have it kind of like, you know, be such of a thing where it's like that. And she told a story about how, she'd probably be embarrassed that I'm telling this, but she told a story that she was in the States visiting, and she gave a waitress like $1 tip because she confused the money. And she felt very embarrassed by that and wound up giving her a bigger tip. But I was just like, you didn't read it? Like, why didn't you read it? It says 1. It, like, our money now says 1 in giant letters. I never even have money. Like, I don't even actually deal with actual cash anymore. Everything's through my credit card, so I don't even fucking know. And honestly, if I went someplace else, that's probably how I would deal with it. I would just charge everything. They do the conversion. Like, I think they charge like a small surcharge, like a percentage surcharge for doing that, but whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I take that into consideration. And just use my fucking card everywhere. Like, what? I don't know. But, yeah. So, I don't know. I think money itself is becoming an outdated thing. I mean, who really deals in cash anymore? Other than, you know, like the fucking, the CBD places and the legal marijuana shops and stuff like that, they all have to deal in cash because, you know, the banks won't take their money. Their money's no good there, and it's all American. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ, American money isn't even good in America if it's under certain circumstances. Oh my god, it's so weird. Like, the whole fucking structure of it's so weird. Ugh. As societies grow more nuanced, man, we just get more and more complex, and then as things start to die off, it just gets weird. It just turns into a weird fucking thing every time. Ugh. Whatever. Interesting times to be living in. It'd be very interesting to see what times are going to be like when we finally figure all this shit out, you know what I mean? That's going to be interesting stuff. And on a fucking, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, who even knows? We might even actually have flying cars.